Good morning and welcome to a basic tutorial on your Canon EOS 60D, 70D, or 80D digital SLR camera provided to you by BRC for use in bidding and or just personal use. In this video, I will show you the basics of the camera as well as how to get the best results without too much effort from both your zoom lens and from your kit lens, as well as a 10-21 if you have that lens, and of course a telephoto as well. Today I'll be using this EOS 80D to show you the functions and features, but if you have a 70 or a 60D, everything is the same except for the battery on the 60D. So do make sure you have the correct matching battery and charger for your camera. If I issued you the camera, I should have made sure ahead of time and issued you a new pair of batteries and a charger. However, if you need new ones at any point, do feel free to reach out to me. So, the basics when you get this camera. To use it, simply pull the screen out, swivel it, and place it back in. Anytime the camera is in use, have the screen like this, but when you're storing it, swivel it back in just to keep it protected. The basics of the camera. On the bottom, you will see a door. You can simply use your fingernail to open it and then move the gray tab, and this will eject your battery. The 70 and 80D use this battery, which is an LP-E6. Your 60D will use an LP-E5. I should have issued at least 2 batteries with you. Make sure they're charged regularly. When you plug the battery in, you will see a red indicator here. That is the camera recognizing that you have inserted a battery, and it will investigate the condition of your SD card. BRC will also issue at least one SD card, at least 16 gigabytes. That card you can leave in during the entire time that you're shooting with it, and I would only recommend removing it and inserting it into a reader like this, or if you have a BRC issued iMac, there is a reader in the back or side of your computer. The laptops, however, you will need an adapter, which I would be happy to provide. Once you've ensured that the battery is charged and you have an SD card installed, I would encourage you to move to one of your lenses. Typically, the range of the lens will be written in a series of numbers across the bottom. On this lens, you see 75 to 300. These are distances, essentially. On this lens, 17 to 85. On this lens, 18 to 135. And on this lens, 10 to 18. Generally speaking, as a rule of thumb, the larger the number, the further away from objects you will be. So this would be for, say, standing on a sidewalk and trying to capture an image of a window opening or perforation higher up on a building, whereas this lens would be for taking detail shots of stair railings or low-down brick or lintels. So I'm going to start with this lens, showing you just some basic features and what the switch's various numbers and symbols mean. To install a lens on a Canon camera, simply click in on the plastic button, turn counterclockwise on the body cap. Do not get dust, dirt, or moisture inside of the camera body, so be extremely careful. On the back of the lens, there is no detent. Simply hold the lens and turn counterclockwise. On most of our lenses, they are what's called an EFS mount, which will have a white indicator dot. You will see on the camera, there is a white indicator dot. Line up these 2 markings, twist, until you hear a click. The lens is now installed. If you have an older EF mount lens, there will be a red indicator, and you saw on the camera body that there was a red indicator as well. Now that your lens is mounted, you can handle zooming simply by turning this ring, and if you'd like to use manual focus, which I would highly recommend you do not do, you may move the switch into manual focus, and this is your focus ring. Most of the time, you will be leaving it in autofocus, and I will show you how to configure that. Stabilizer should always be on. Next up, we'll be changing the metering mode. What this means is where the camera is looking on the image for focus and light energy. Typically with bidding, you will be focusing in the direct center of your screen. So if you're pointing at a chimney in the middle of your screen, it will focus on the chimney and not try to meter to the outside sky. This is already set on spot metering, but if you're on partial, evaluative, or center weighted, please navigate over to Spot and then click the button again. Now that you've done that, you are essentially set up to take your first photo. Before taking your first photo, lightly depress the shutter button, but do not click it all the way, and change your f-stop. That will be an F number in the center of the top of your screen. Slide it all the way to the right, or whatever your lowest number is. Anytime you change your lens, please do this again. So in the viewfinder, point at an object you'd like to take a photo of, push the shutter button halfway down until you hear a beep, and typically it will take a picture. Now, if you run into a situation like that where the shutter was a little bit slow and you have a blurry image, you can go in to view your images with the play button. If it's too blurry, you can delete it by hitting the trash can, scrolling to erase, and clicking the center button. If your photos are too blurry, feel free to adjust your ISO up by clicking the ISO button and navigating up to 3200 or 6400. Please only use those options temporarily. Outdoor photography in daylight should always be possible with good results at ISO 1600. One final autofocus change: hit the magnifying glass positive button and make sure that you are at manual selection 1 PT AF. This is a touchscreen, so you can just click it once. After you are done taking your photos, you can simply slide the power switch to off, the sensor will automatically clean, and you can close the screen. Please reinstall any lens cap that's included with the lens, and if you would like to, you can remove the lens by clicking in on this plastic button, rotating the lens counterclockwise, reinstalling the back lens cap and the body cap on the camera for easier storage in your camera bag. Once you return to the office, you can pull the SD card out, place it in a reader, and I will show you what to do after that. To remove your SD card, very simply open the door, click in on the card, and the spring detent will eject it. Place the card into any reader and then into your computer. Now that your card is inserted and your reader is plugged in, you should see a volume mount called EOS Digital on your computer. In the upper right corner of your screen, you will see a magnifying glass. Please click it and type in image capture in your Spotlight search. Hit enter with the top result. In image capture, single-click EOS Digital in the left bar. Select the photo folder you would like imported to. Typically, I select Downloads. You can select individual photos and hit Download, or you can hit Download All. If at the end of the day, Dale starts complaining about the photo size, hit Menu. Use your navigation pad to go up to Image Quality. Use the center button to select. And, again, it's a touchscreen, so click S1, which will still give you, I believe it's a 6 megapixel JPEG. Plenty for any bidding or basically any purpose. Just make sure you have RAW deselected with the minus. Those take up a lot of space and we typically don't use them. And you're, of course, allowed to use any of the other options. However, the simple is large file, and then there's a version with a little bit more jagged, a round portion or whatever. That's a higher compression version. So the same photo resolution, but a lower quality version. So we're taking a high quality small photo. That is typically what I prefer. As you can see at the top, the resolution is still 2976 by 1984. That's larger than any computer screen resolution that we currently have at BRC, and certainly will be larger than any client viewing screen. So make sure you have it set on S, but high quality, and that's pretty much it.